First things first, and that includes all things on a Sunday morning, including coffee, bacon, and billions. About 9 o'clock, just got through the episode. Again, spoiler alert, if you watch them at night, I watch them early in the morning, so some spoilers. Gotta do it. Some people get mad. I actually had someone leave me a comment this morning on YouTube asking when episode 12 is going to be up. And I'm like, hold on, it's coming. Um, with that being said, um, since this is the end of the season, if there's another show that you'd be interested in me doing episodes on, drop a comment below. Or if you don't want to comment, you can hit me up on Instagram, send me a DM. But it's a lot of shows I like watching in the background and make comments on. But since this one's coming to an end, if you got another idea, drop a comment and see if it's something I'm interested in. But thanks for following. A lot of great comments. I enjoy everyone checking out the show. But there's one more episode I'm gonna do when I get a minute. I either wrote about it somewhere or I did an episode last year on this topic about billions. They are very good about using the same key phrase twice in different parts of the show, such as cold storage. You remember Bobby giving McPhee the crypto on cold storage. There's all these little clever sayings. There's one where there was the part, season 2, 3, I can't remember, where Bobby was trying to hit Chuck with a whole onslaught of lawsuits because after listening to the police captain guy he had a story about factions and superior numbers, and he said you can't defend against numbers, and they always had these like very clever phrases and like, words you don't hear too often in like, normal people saying. They always seem to use those phrases twice throughout the series, and it creates a sense of familiarity, and I think it gives you a connection to the show. So I'm gonna try to do another episode at some point that points out some of these clever sayings that they always use twice. And that might not always be in the same season, but if you pay attention, they recycle it. And I think they do that. It happens so often, it's intentional. But, my how Chuck should die of idea of the week. This episode makes you hate him even more. You end up hating Dave even more by the end of it. You thought she wasn't morally bankrupt, but she's just as bad as Chuck drinking the Chuck Kool-Aid. I would like to see, if you watch Sicario, I would love to see Benicio roll up on him. This is that scene where the guy's on the ground. I think he shot him in the leg. And he tells the guy to put his glasses on so he can actually see Benicio shoot him. So, and then he does the rapid bump fire on the pistol as fast as he can. That's kind of how I want to see Chuck go out right now. Blaze of glory. I would like Benicio to do it. Can we get that in, Sicario 3? I would pay extra. So it starts off another finale that's got that, what happened in the last 72 hours type of tone. I like those because they pack in like 3 episodes worth of crap into one. But at the same time, we've done it. And it's, you do it once, do you keep doing it? I guess I wasn't enjoying it as much as like when the Ice Juice one happened. That one, maybe it's just because that was executed better. I don't know. But here we go again. Another 72-hour. All these things were happening, and I mean, you gotta expect that Billions is the, king of recycling stuff. Chuck going after Sacker is such a Chuck thing to do. And it just seems like we're at we're at like peak douchebag. Like, I don't even know if you watch like Tiger King, the guy from Vegas, like that look where he just looked like it was, just apex douchebag of 2004 Las Vegas. I just feel like that's where Chuck's at right now. Chuck is peak douchebag, going after Sacker, trying to leverage her, trying to destroy her career. It's like, this is why she left. You're just a terrible person. Just garbage. Like, you're just garbage. But it's such a Chuck thing to do because he just doesn't care. And then there was like a part later on where she's in his office, and the way he's talking to her just makes you want to drop a cruise missile on his head. It's it's just, this guy's trash. He's hot garbage on a 102-degree day. Also, I get it's weird. I'm watching the episode. I'm closing out some books in March, and I'm bouncing back and forth between my laptop and the TV. And I forgot for a minute that Chuck wasn't even in office anymore. But this episode, it made it feel like he was still working for the justice system, right? And I had to like check myself for a minute. I'm like, wait a minute, how's Chuck like all these scenes? It's like he's doing things that are so outside the bounds of a civilian. And it's like it makes the show start to feel unreal. It's for what happened to him, he should be crawling in a hole somewhere, and you don't hear from him in a couple of years. But yeah, that's not how this episode felt. So it did not feel very natural. I look up the screen, I see Wags in the office, and his normal. What did I say? Like you undo one button on your shirt at work and two at the bar. Wags always has two buttons undone all the time. Like that's just Wags. He's ready for work or the bar any time of day. That's like the kind of dude you wish like you're 22 years old and you got that first real job, and that's the kind of guy you want to work for. Just let's work hard. Let's bust our ass. Let's make things happen. But we're gonna have a hell of a good time while we do it. What else we got? Another episode with massive, deep strategy where Chuck talked to all these people behind the scenes, had, all of his patents in a row set up, and couldn't fail. And, everything goes his way until it doesn't, right? But it's just like it's like unbelievable. It's at a point where it just gets unbelievable that all these people, whether it's Prince or it's Axe or it's Chuck, can have these massive like strategies in place, like super game theory at a level that you can't even comprehend. But it always works. And here we go again. Chuck was running all these plays, and he's across the street looking at the Suburban, keeping an eye on everybody, and it's like all this stuff just going according to Chuck's plan. Oh my God, how am I gonna make it through season 7? Do I even want to make it through season 7? And then what else we got? I don't know who Chuck was talking to. He dropped a Johnny Chan reference, which it's if you'll watch poker, Chan. If you watch Rounders, Chan. Where Matt Damon or Mike McDermott was his name in Rounders. He was trying to get the money from the one guy at the end when he was broke, and he had to tell him the story of how he sat at the Taj with Johnny Chan and he won, and he ended up bluffing Chan with some rags. And Matt Damon goes on to explain how he sat with the best of them and won. But it's like I love Rounders, probably one of my top 5, top 10 movies of all times. I probably watch it for background noise once a month. It's New York, it's gritty, it's grimy, it's money, it's poker. I love it. But that scene also, it's poker. Anybody can win any hand one time. Sometimes I sat in poker tournaments where it's just you get dealt a hand and it's like you won. Like it's just you didn't have to bluff, you didn't do nothing. So I know he did it with rags, but I don't know. Random thought on poker. It's just anybody can win once. So, oh crap. When they're talking about Ryan and what to do because she hooked up with Prince, and she also alluded that there was multiple other days that they were together, so it wasn't just a one-time deal. Wag started going down the road of think of killing her. Like what the hell? And Scooter's like, isn't this the time where you say you got a guy that's gonna make this all go away, which we know is Hall. I was hoping to see more Hall, and unfortunately we're not. But for Wags to take it there, it actually kind of made me laugh for a minute. who was it? It was Dave. They're in a boardroom with Sacker doing the legal thing, and she Prince makes a reference about living his life, and then Dave jumps in and says something along the lines like, "It looks like Prince was living his life, but you were trying to live his life too." And I thought that was a clever line because I I wrote about this in books I have coming out. I wrote about it on my Instagram. If you look at my Instagram, it's where a lot of my little writings and snippets and quips go. But there's almost, especially in a relationship, there's nothing worse than being with somebody that doesn't have their own life or they're completely consumed by your life. Because then it's really hard to live your life. It's, maybe I want to work till 6 tonight, but you got off work at 4, and then you don't want to sit at home alone, right? So then they start blowing up with your text. When you coming home? When you coming home? It's like, I'm out here trying to build a career. I got stuff to do. I'm trying to get my work done. Hey, go do something with your friends. Go do something on your own. Go do your hobby, your passion. And then you got people that just like sticking their nose in your business, period. Your parents, family, friends, where they just got nothing going on. So they end up they're always got their grimy little mitts in your life. It's like, man, block them on social media and tell them to go mind their own business. And I thought it was a good line from Dave because it just resonates in real life that you ever notice with people that got a lot going on, they're not usually gossiping about other people. They're too busy living their life, chasing their dreams, their passions, their hobbies, whatever it is they want to do, that they ain't got time to just sit around and get involved in other people's drama and other people's lives. And surround yourself with those people for sure. What else do we have here? Ryan doesn't want to burn Prince. So, I mean, that was cool. It's like it's two adults. I almost feel like they blew it out of proportion on the episode. If you look at lines, some of the large companies even get a point to where they know they can't stop inner office dating and all that stuff. And they get to the point where I saw one, that was an HR article a few years ago where some companies were doing love contracts or something where you'd go to HR and just admit that I'm involved with this person. And it's like it's not in the open, but like HR knows they can't stop it. So it's cool for Ryan to just say, hey, it's two adults. We're doing this. I'm not trying to leverage him or burn him or just, it is what it is. Felt like the episode might have made this whole thing be a little bit bigger than it really is. What else? Oh, seeing the Axe Bank logo on the armored vehicle. Like, oh, God damn it, bring Axe back. Let's get back to the Axe Capital stuff, and I just get Chuck out of there, bring Axe back, or hell, somebody else. Take us back to that world of Wall Street and just crushing people, business stuff, making moves. The stuff that we originally started watching the show for. This thing has become overly political. It's become this like big like justice push and fair. And is this why we started watching this show? Not why I started watching the show, but it certainly has morphed into something I'm not enjoying as much, unfortunately. What else do we have? Oh, Sacker had a good reference about drinking the coffee in college, where her roommate would just basically boil beans and then pour it through like a paper towel, and that was the cup of coffee. Which I don't know if you ever had campfire coffee. I like camping. I got a toy hauler going out boondocking somewhere is nice. Just make the coffee over. You got the tin coffee thing. Throw some chunky ass grounds in the top of it. It boils too much because you can't manage the fire that well, and the campfire coffee ends up being some of the best coffee ever. It's a little gritty. It's just good. But Sacker said a great line, and she said, well, what Prince say? Prince say, well, you came from a wealthy family. You could have just bought your roommate a coffee maker. And then Sacker's like, no, you just learn to love the suck. And I thought that was great because I grew up without much cash. My family was not educated; they didn't even go to high school. Um, and you learn to appreciate things from a different level instead of trying to like upgrade them all the time. Um, I joke about it with my father because where we come from, him and I will still eat like White Castle. Like it's it's not that I got some money. I can only eat tomahawk ribeyes now and black truffle pasta. It's you learn to appreciate things for what they are, and there's no reason why you can't be like ambidextrous in that sense and like some of the lower level stuff and the higher level stuff at the same damn time. Not everything has to be at the highest level all the time. In fact, trying to do that often makes you miss out and not appreciate things. It's sometimes just going to like a dive bar is going to beat the best experience I could have at the nicest bar in a big city. And I can't explain that. A lot of it just has to do with the company and the people you're around. But learn to love the suck. I thought that was a great line from Sacker. What else do we have? Chuck showing up to the vault raid as a civilian with the fake warrant. Again, I told you I was like, I had to take a step back and like, hey, wait a minute, Chuck's not even. And I understand it's a fake warrant, but it just seems so off. It's almost like he's acting as an agent of the government, even though he's not. I had to step back and say, he's not even in office anymore. But damn, is he running around acting like it? So another scene that you knew was going to come back to bite him. Fake warrant, cameras, all this stuff. I don't know. You knew that was off. The guy cracking the cold storage device in like 6 hours, um, which he probably couldn't even crack a 128-bit anything that fast. Reminded me of the movie Hackers, which till this day is still one of my like favorite childhood movies because I started off in tech when I was like 14, 15, 16. That movie comes out. I'm just getting into the tech world. You knew the movie was BS, but it was like watching some like futuristic sci-fi movie where you knew it wasn't real anyways, but you knew it was kind of all BS. I'm watching this guy, and it's like, okay, you're just going to crack these super hard devices where you just said it was going to take you 6 months, but now you're going to do it in 6 hours. Okay, dude. Another scene that just didn't feel realistic to me. Um, when they did the big raid on all the vaults, they're playing Motley Crue, and I was like, that's some of the stuff I grew up on. It was nice to hear a little throwback. Sometimes a lot of times the music's hit or miss, but that that one brought back some memories. Sacker 10 steps ahead, shutting down Chuck finally. You kind of saw again. I love Sacker's character. You expect her to stomp on everybody. Did you really think Chuck was going to have her in a pinch? She comes back, and then she was running her own long game the whole time, and she ends up playing Chuck all the way back to when Dave brought her the files. So that was nice to see. But again, these like super long games where everything plays out the way you think it's going to. It's at a point where I don't know how believable that is, but nice to see because I don't like Chuck. So, what did Prince said something to Ryan along the lines of there's people that things happen to and people that make things happen. I've noticed that, especially where I grew up. There wasn't always a lot of great things going on in people's lives, struggling financially, family issues. There's a lot of drama. And something I realized even as going into my late teens that I wasn't like I wasn't on to this that type of thinking at that point, but I did start to kind of call people on their BS in the sense that every time something bad happened to somebody, they thought someone was doing it to them, and they didn't realize that a lot of the times when the bad things happened to them, they were the cause of it. And I think a lot of the times the bad things that happen to us, somewhere along the way, we did something or didn't do something that caused that bad thing to happen. So there are those people out there that sit around, and sometimes it's bad things happen to us, whether it's our fault or not. But there's a lot of people out there that they just sit around, and whatever in the universe comes to them, it comes to them, and they take it how it is. Then there's the people that go make it happen. You go out and you create the life you want, and you put yourself in the environment you want at any cost. If you got to, the first thing I did, for example, the second I got my first big job in tech is probably, I was like 19, maybe 20. The first thing I did was move like an hour, 45 minutes to an hour away. There was nothing for me back home. It was, a working class, lower middle class neighborhood at best. There wasn't a great amount of wealth of opportunity. There was quite a bit of crime. I'm tired of my car getting broken into. I'm tired of my things getting stolen. As soon as I could afford a better life, I had to leave everybody behind. I just bolted, left everybody behind, and then eventually I moved my dad, and I got him out of there too. At any cost, you have to go create the life you want and go put yourself in an environment where you can succeed. Not sure everybody always thinks that way, but you can sit around and let things happen to you, or you can go make things happen. A little thing I caught. I just looked up at the screen. I just caught it. After they put the password in 10 times and the device is locked, and the whole scene goes down, and Prince asks if he can leave. He ends up, as he turns his back and walks away, he wipes his hands like, I'm done with this dirty project. So I thought that was a pretty telling sign that, hey, Chuck's buried in the grave. This is what he came out to do. Now, in the end, you find out that he says he lost the $3 billion, the $3.5 billion. He walks in the bar. He already says this night cost me $3.5 billion. But when the guard calls somebody, they had to know beforehand that this was going down. So I'm not 100% convinced that that's true. He lost the $3.5 billion. We're not going to find out until season 7. But it seems like, if this was Axelrod, for example, and they had any insight that this was coming, that they would have moved those boxes. So I don't know. Not convinced just yet. What else we got? Taylor plotting to go out on their own, which, they should be. If they're going to be a part of the show, let them get their own thing going and go crush it. It'll create a whole new storyline. Prince toasting to the collective wounds of war. Sounds like some Hemingway type stuff. At the end of the day, Prince went out and did exactly what Chuck did with Ice Juice. At any cost, blew that whole fortune trying to sink his opponent. And Prince did it and supposedly did it for $3.5 billion. I guess we'll find out later if that's true. Dave goes to unbail Chuck, or bail out Chuck, rather. You find out that she's just drinking the Kool-Aid and just as corrupt as Chuck, and I'm over it. I'm kind of like, F this show right now. I thought she could stand on her own 2 feet and think for herself, but she's just, right in it with Chuck. And the thought of undercover Chuck to close the episode out for season 7, working for Dave in this underground deep cover type of thing, it does not sound like the most exciting season 7 to me. A lot of times they end the season on one note, and then the next season doesn't end up being what they say it's going to be. Let's hope for that. I don't want to see Chuck deep cover. I don't want to see Chuck at all. If I see Chuck, it's because Benicio has a Glock 17 in his face, flipping the switch and hitting him with a burst. And then I don't want to see Chuck anymore. So, um, we'll see what happens in season 7. Not the greatest ending to a season, but hey, what's new in Hollywood? Um, Again, make sure you hit subscribe. I'll try to do some more episodes on Billions, especially the one about using the clever language twice. And if there's another show you want me to cover in the meantime, drop a comment, and maybe I'll give those shows a watch and then do a similar series where I just don't like doing recaps. I like throwing in my own personal life insights because there's 20 million recaps. You can read them all over the place. They're all over um, YouTube. I'm trying to add a little bit of original insight. Otherwise, why do you want to spend 20 minutes listening to my crap when it's the same stuff you just watched on a TV show? So I always try to throw in some additional insights and thoughts. But anyways, that is the end of season 6. I will catch you on the next one.